What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to talk about Starter Deck 7. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, something's been going on here. What's been going on is that the One Piece official store, they've been doing that thing that they do, where they tell us what stock they've got. They're very nice like this. There's a new one actually just opened in Birmingham. Very nice too. I haven't actually been yet. I really wanted to go. I didn't get to go, and I'm very sad about that. But with the opening of the new store, they went and updated their availability. And what you may notice is, if we have a look at Starter Decks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, all in stock. All just sitting there in stock. And this is kind of a big deal. Remember, back in the early days, the Luffy starter deck. That starter deck 1, that red starter deck, that was a real pain to get a hold of. That red starter deck in the early days of the game was an absolute nightmare to get hold of because it's got things like the one-cost chopper blocker. Things like the Luffy, the secret rare, that's got rush, but also stops your opponent blocking, as long as you've got Don X2. It's got things like guard point, which still, incidentally, sees a whole bunch of play. And basically, there's just a bunch of playable cards for red decks, and that made that very hard to get hold of. Probably worse for a long time was Starter Deck 4, the purple starter deck, largely because of Blocker Queen. And don't get me wrong, the big 9-cost Kaido, very cool card. Dawn -5, KO a character of a cost of 6 or less, and it gains rush. That's a very cool card. And Blast Breath, very cool. And in the early days of the game, if you were playing, Kaido, then you would definitely want Onigashima Island. And to be fair, back in the OPO1 meta, Kaido itself was a pretty good leader. But the point is, largely because of Blocker Queen, that was a pain to get hold of. And yet, these decks, yeah, they're fine. They're all just in stock. Bandai have done a wonderful job, and I do mean a wonderful job, of getting those decks back in stock. They were gone for a while, they were very hard to get hold of, and yet, over time, they just came back. And that's wonderful. So what's going on with Starter Deck 7? Because as it stands at the moment, yeah, it's gone. And there's a few things to note here which I think are very, very important. Firstly, these are the One Piece official stores. If anyone's going to have stock, it's going to be these guys. Remember what we've talked about before. At the official stores, you're generally not getting much of a bargain. You're generally not getting stuff below retail. There's always exceptions, of course. But the general rule is, if the official stores sell super cheap and undercut the third-party stores, the third-party stores get annoyed, and that's generally not what you want to do, because you want them to sell your product. So you're generally not getting a deal at the official stores, but, of course, they're the official store. They will generally have better stock than other places. Generally speaking, the last places to go out of stock on any particular set, deck, product, or anything else is going to be the official stores. They are going to run out last. And Starter Deck 7 is an old starter deck. The most recent starter deck that got released was Starter Deck 21. So, as time goes by, and this shouldn't really surprise anyone, it gets harder and harder to find the older products because, you have to make way for the newer ones in terms of shelf space, in terms of printing capacity at your factories. You need to make space for the newer products. So when the older ones go away, they tend to stay gone away. So Starter Decks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, miraculously all still in stock, and I mean at all 4 of the official UK stores: Camden in London, Birmingham in the Midlands, Brighton in the south, and the Metro Centre in Gateshead in the north. They got a nice little spread going on, I'll give them that. But 7's gone away, and yet 8 and 9 are there. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones we know that we do see, special ones, like Starter Deck 10 was a bit of a special one, etc. So we're not going to get too deep into the weeds on that. We're focusing on Starter Deck 7 today, and the reason we're focusing on Starter Deck 7, it is the oldest one that's out of stock, And it is frankly the most likely one to not come back. This might be gone at this point. The fact that it's sold out in all the official stores, the fact that it's an older starter deck at this point, it all adds up to it's probably not coming back. So the question then becomes, well, all right then, do we care? Like, do we actually care about this? Are any of these cards actually seeing any play? Or is this just a case of, I don't know, it's sold out, we don't really care anymore? Because I'm telling you right now, the leader, Charlotte Linlin, not good. Really not good. We know at this stage that started X7 Linlin. I mean, look, Don X2, when attacking, add a card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand. And then if you've got 2 or less life, you add a card from your hand to the top of your life. Essentially, you can stack your life here to try and make sure you get the trigger rolling. And you can gain card advantage and all of that from adding life to your hand. But this has been out for a long time now, as I keep telling you. We know pretty much with absolute certainty this is not good. Could it become good? Yeah? There's absolutely anything could at some point become good. Now, I'm not saying it will, just to be perfectly clear, but I am saying that there is a chance that, yeah, we could actually see any deck at this point could randomly come around and just start becoming good and playable. I'm not saying that it will, but I'm saying that it could. I am also saying that, let's be real with you, we have the yellow Charlotte Katakuri, which has been a very good deck. And to put it bluntly, we've got a mono yellow Big Mum Pirates leader, which we know to be better. And again, I'm not saying we won't get some specific Charlotte Linlin support in the future, which will help Linlin but not Katakuri and make this deck better. But I am telling you at this stage, it's unlikely, I think is the nice way to put this here. It is unlikely. So what cards in the deck do we have that are good? Well, there are a couple. Speaking of that yellow Katakuri deck, you know what they end up playing a lot of the time, and it's not the only deck that does, the big super rare Charlotte Linlin. Like, this is the best thing about Started X7. The best thing about Started X7 is that super rare of Charlotte Linlin, 7 cost, 8k, and on play, your opponent has to choose to either trash one of their life cards or let you add the top card of your deck to your life. So there's going to be a 1 life swing either way. This is a great card. A very, very good card. Like I say, if you see yellow Katakuri, they are going to be playing it. But this is a yellow card. It isn't like the OPO3 Linlin, which is a similar thing but more expensive, but better but more expensive. But it only works if your leader is Big Mum Pirates, which really restricts the usage of the card. No. This fits into any yellow deck. So it's one of those where we see it in those Katakuri decks, but by the same token, we could see it popping up in a bunch of others. We generally don't see it coming around in a Nell, and there's a bunch of yellow decks where we just don't see it right now, and Nell is the best kind of pure yellow deck right now, and that's fine. But I am telling you that it is a card which could pop up basically anywhere. We also generally don't see it in Yellow Kid, which in the OP10 meta is going to be the best, well, at least it very much looks like it is going to be the best of the yellow decks. So it's a card that's really had its time in the sun. There's every possibility it will again in the future. Right now, not seeing a huge amount of play, but like I say, there's always a chance it could come back. The other one, which is a really meta-relevant card in the deck, is your Charlotte Brûlée. It's just, it's a bad block. It's only got 1k power, but it's a blocker that you can play off a trigger. So this is one that we do see coming around. Most recently, we'd see this most in purple-yellow Robin decks, because that's a deck that really wants lots of trigger cards for the leader skill. When attacking, trash card with trigger from your hand, add a Don card from your Don deck rested. So because the Nico Robin really wants to go a bit harder onto cards with trigger, that makes Charlotte Brûlée specifically better in this deck. But again, it's not necessarily just about what's seeing play at this moment, it's about what could see play in the future, which cards we're looking at. These are really the two from the deck. And I'm not saying we won't see any more. Because again, we don't know what's going to be good in the future. We see all the time that bad cards become good and start seeing a lot more play. The secret rare Charlotte Katakuri is not really that relevant now, but on play, you look at a card from the top of your opponent's life, put it at the top or bottom, and if you've got fewer life, you gain Rush. Can we say that's never going to see play again? Maybe it won't, but can we be sure right now? Queen Mama Chanta, the stage card. You can rest it and add a card from the top bottom of your life to your hand, and add a character of a cost of 3 exactly to the top of the owner's life card face up. Not really seeing any play right now. But can we say for certain it never will? And this is the big question when we're looking at this stuff. It's not really necessarily saying what's good right this second, although I've told you the two most relevant ones. One is by far the best, that's your super rare Charlotte Lin. But I'm saying what could be good in the future. Right now, price-wise, none of these cards are holding any real value except the Charlotte Lin, which is a $10 card. Every other card in the deck right now is super cheap. You can pick up the singles for like $1 or less. You know, the Charlotte Katakuri is like a $1.50 card. The Queen Mama Chanta is $1, and everything else is, well, almost nothing, and I mean almost nothing. Even Charlotte Brûlée, which is a cool card, is like a 20-cent card. So the point I'm making here is, right now, the loss of this starter deck, and it really does seem to be sold out, not that big a deal. The best card in the deck, that's your Lin, it's not really seeing any play right now. Not in the OP10 meta, not in the builds as we're currently seeing them. But again, that's not really the point now, is it? What we're worried about is that some point in the future, all of a sudden one of these cards does get good, and it's too late. Either way, the news right now is that Starter Deck 7 really does seem to be gone, so I want to know how much you care about this, and I want you to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.